Hello and welcome to the First Issue Club. We're your weekly comic book podcast where, just like Sue Storm, we love a good read. Reading comic books, that is. I put my eyes on paper and it gives me an endorphin
You didn't get a paper cut?
rush. Yeah, I get some sort of immediate contact high.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel the ink, the pulp from the paper, all the senses in my nervous system.
It's a rush.
It's such a rush. There's nothing like it, folks.
It's like you're Jason Statham and you have a bomb strapped to your heart. And if your adrenaline drops below a certain level, you will die. So we have to continuously read comic books to keep us freaking zooted and booted. Without comic books, we die, folks.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
This podcast the whole time has just been a secret prequel to Crank.
Yeah. Pre-Crank. Crunk, if you will.
Was that what that movie was called?
It was Crank.
It was Crank.
Was
okay.
there ever a sequel to Crank?
I feel like there was. Can you imagine that happening to you
Cranks?
twice?
A very crank Christmas.
This episode is a special one.
They're all special.
For several reasons, but one of them is that this episode's brought to you by Space Camper Cosmic IPA.
Yum, yum, give me some down in my tum-tum.
We just cracked a couple of these bad boys over here, and we're going to sip on them and get progressively more buzz throughout the episode.
Yep.
My favorite IPA, and I'll scream it loud from the mountaintops.
Yep. I'll scream it from the top of the highest mountain on the moon, because that's where it's going to send me.
Yodelay he booze.
Yodelay he booze. Space Camper IPA. It's not a beer. It's a journey.
That's right. Sip. I tried to sneak a little auditory sip in there.
Yeah.
I blurbled it a little bit.
Do you think that
All
will
the
gain us?
Yeah, all the misophonic people out there are going to be like, ugh,
Yeah.
full body shiver.
Yeah, like that's probably what 60% of the audience.
Right.
We've been reading the emails, and frankly, we just ignore them all right now.
I'm a basketball fan, and I remember once listening to Kevin Durant on a podcast, and he was eating chips the entire time.
No, sir.
And they were like, the listeners are going to be very upset with you
Yes.
with the chip eating thing. And he's just like, I don't care. I'm Kevin Durant. And they were like, hey, we're just letting you know.
Yeah, we're not, Kevin, we know we're living in your world right now. That's almost as unhinged as one of our very early episodes when Budget King ate a banana while we were recording.
Oh, I don't remember that. I probably blocked it out.
I can't. I see it and hear it every time I go to sleep. So, folks, if you're running a podcast, don't put anything in your mouth except Space Camper IPA, the only beer in IPA for First Issue Club.
All right. This episode is part one of a 4-part series wherein we're going to be talking about the 100 best things about comics.
The, guaranteed, de facto, non-disputed 100 greatest things about comic books.
Obviously, there's more than 100 great things about comics.
Sure.
But we thought perfect round number.
And we only want to give you the cream of the crop.
Someone has to dig in and look through the list of the thousands of things that are great about comics and articulate what those top 100 are.
Let me give you a little taste of what 101 was. Staples.
That's right.
So, we did about 4 years of research for
One of the
this.
basic materials doesn't even crack the top 100. Can you believe it?
And, you can't vamp on that. I mean, it's integral.
Yep.
It's structural. But, nope, only the best for our audience.
That's right.
So, Staples, we apologize. You only made it to 101.
Honorable mention.
Yep. Does tape make the top 100?
When we're all digital and we do the... Eisner in memoriam. We'll do a slide just for you, Staples.
Yep. Gone but not forgotten.
Yep, that's right.
I will remember you.
All right. Well, what do you think, Greg? Should we just start at 100?
We should. We should mention that it's just you and I.
Yes.
In other episodes, Andy will be here.
Yes.
But for right now, we're handling the brunt of it, shouldering the first, or I guess the bottom 25.
The bottom 25.
75 through 100.
Of the top 100.
Yeah. We should also mention No particular order.
No particular order. This is a grab bag of great things about comics.
Number one, truly the number one reason may be mentioned in this episode. We
true.
don't really know.
You don't have one in the back of your head that, like, I'm saving this as number one in case it lands on my turn?
I think my number one will constantly change because every time I read a comic book, I love it for a different reason.
That's a great point.
And it's kind of why we wanted to do this episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like your top 100 will not look like ours.
Yeah.
And we know that. But we love comic books so much. We've been doing this show for 5 years. ... More?
Right?
Woof, we're old. But we've been doing it for so long, and we've been collecting for longer, that we're just like, let's just have a bombastic 4-episode mega hit of all the greatest things about comic books.
That's right.
You want to lead us off since this was your idea?
I'm going to kick it off. Coming in at number 100. The click made when 2 pages are stuck together and you're reading it for the first time.
It's like if you were a devoutly religious person and you knew you were about to be intimate for the first time with someone that has never been touched.
These are virgin pages,
yes,
folks.
Like the only one who has touched this is a machine.
I feel like when I hear that sound and get that tactile feeling of like kind of pulling the pages apart for the first time,
it's pure.
I'm like, this is what they look for in a 9.9 probably.
Yeah.
It's like if it doesn't have the click, then it's not. You're like above 9.8 gem mints.
This is what I imagine cocaine in the 70s was. Just like unfiltered depravity.
Yeah.
And just like only my fingies have touched these.
Yeah.
And only my fingies will touch these.
I love it.
All right. That was number 100. Number 99. I'm finally more relevant at family get-togethers because of movies and TV shows.
Perfect. Yes.
Since Iron Man, really, with Robert Downey Jr., I have gotten texts, phone calls, emails from relatives I haven't talked to since junior high.
Yeah.
Asking me particular questions because they knew that I read comic books.
It is cool to be an authority on something that people care about and want to know more about.
Right.
This happens for me at work all the time when people have like passing interests in the MCU or other cultural things going on that involve comics. And I'm the first person they ask, and I love it.
The bonus of that is if I don't know, I can just make it up because they don't know the difference.
Okay. So number 99, lying.
Relevance and white lying.
Number 98, your eBay order was packed to perfection.
I love it. You respect someone even more when you pay like shipping and you're like, man, please don't just send this in an envelope.
Yeah, right.
And they put like packing peanuts or they actually take time to like secure the corners of the book.
100%.
That's when you know you're dealing with a pro.
I love having that experience. I feel like it's a shared experience across people who like never got a chance to like meet in person, but you're sending me something that you at one time collected and you care about it.
Right.
And you're showing me that.
And it shows you're not a reseller.
Yeah.
Is that a weird thing to say? I feel like
not
a
just
reseller
strictly a reseller
would just like put it in a box
and
be like, here's your book, dummy.
Yeah, you're on your way.
This is someone else who cares for a thing that I care about.
These are the people who, when they're putting tape around outer protective cardboard packaging, they're making you a little tab. They're folding
the fucking tab.
The masking tape to make a tab so it's easy to pull off. You don't have to pick it with your fingernail.
Tell me if I'm wrong here. I
should have just said the tab.
I believe
for 98.
We have seen we saw the evolution of the tab.
That's probably right.
I've seen comics. I've been collecting on eBay for a long time. I've seen comics taped all the way around.
Yeah.
And then just a little bit around the cardboard corner. And then somewhere there must have been like an eBay meeting or a tape email blast that is just like, hey guys, we can make tabbies with these tapes if we fold the tape in on itself.
Right.
and it's been a whole new world.
Changed the game.
It got me through COVID, to be honest.
I love it.
All right.
97.
97. Comic books give me somewhere to go on Wednesday.
Yeah, the Wednesday Warrior-dom.
I know where I'm going on Wednesday. It's my LCS to peruse the shelves. I am a stickler. I do like to have a pull box ready for me. So I know that I have like my designated books that I'm going to be getting. But you listening know you want to peruse. You want to see what you missed out on. You want to see what maybe you read in a news article or maybe a little spec thing of just like, I wonder if they have this variant or whatever. And sometimes maybe you get like a little bonus in your paycheck. You want to buy something a little extra.
Browsing on a Wednesday, what an adrenaline rush.
Whew. Browsing on a Friday, like on a half day from work, when like maybe your partner is still at work and you have like an afternoon to yourself, clutch.
You like that?
I like a little like free time, that like unexpected free time where you're just like, maybe a doctor's appointment got out early or something came up. You're just like, I got 2 hours to kill. I know my comic book shop's right around the corner. Let's see what those dollar bins have for me.
Okay, this is strictly for dollar bins. I'm thinking I'm not going on Wednesday. I'm going to miss stuff. Stuff's going to sell out.
Okay, sure.
And a lot of stuff's going to be touched.
FOMO prevention is what you're doing.
Yeah. This is why Wednesday's coming in. On the count.
Yeah.
And Friday isn't.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe on further on down the count.
All right, we'll see.
Okay. 96?
Getting back a 9.8.
There's nothing more nerve-wracking than sending your precious babies in the mail and waiting for that report to come back.
I know. It is, and we come from a time wherein comics used to take months to come back, and you're just like, you have no clue. Did they get damaged in shipment?
Yep.
I spent a lot of money to have something graded. If it comes back at 9.8, it's a $150 comic. If it comes back at 9.6 or 9.4, it's like, wasn't worth grading. This is a whole other conversation that we're going to avoid today, but I'm just saying, earns a place on the list. Nothing feels better than pulling out a 9.8 out of a box from CGC or CBCS.
And I don't know if CGC always emailed you what your grades were before they mailed them back, too.
You can check. They do have an itinerary that should be available before they ship.
Well,
but
I mean, like,
I don't always look at them because I kind of like the
surprise
experience of opening it and seeing.
Well, I'm talking like 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah, that might
like that's something they may have just like kind of worked towards.
I got into it over COVID, like most other people.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
and I got into it with you because we hang out so much, and
that's right.
If you're doing it, I'm doing it too because I'm a sheep.
Yep.
Comic books are an important tool for satire and societal critiques. Bit of a heavy one, but I love how this medium can be used for all kinds of things.
Yep.
But I loved, more importantly, how it can hold a mirror up to not only itself, but the world around you.
Yep.
And I think it's crucial because I don't necessarily believe that everyone is like accepting of that kind of take or critique on stuff. But if it comes like in a comic book, maybe it's a little easier for them to digest or absorb.
And I think there's something interesting too about the medium itself with how quickly a comic book can be produced as compared to other forms of art.
Yep.
Like a movie or TV show, what have you. And the accessibility of that to a lot more diverse people who want to make a commentary on society or hold a mirror up to the zeitgeist. And that's something comics offer in a very immediate way, in a way that's affordable to creators, I think.
Yeah.
In a way that isn't so much affordable for big budget productions of like movies and stuff and having a harder time finding an audience. Whereas with comic books, fuck yeah, someone's writing like a punk rock story about like,
well, even so, like
social injustice or whatever,
like the news and everything. Like people kind of are, adverse to like the news sometimes because it can be delivered in such a harsh way. I feel like comic books has the method to deliver maybe heavier ideas in a softer way
Yeah.
to make people kind of think about it.
Yes.
So
Love it. 94. Replacing a yellowed bag.
ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
You just went to your dollar bins and you're buying a comic that was bagged and boarded in the late 80s, early 90s, and you're like, it looks good enough for $1. And then you get it home and you're like, why don't I put this in a new bag? And it looks brand spanking. It looks gorgeous.
It's like in every teen romance movie where
Uh-huh.
the jock takes the glasses off of the nerd
Yeah.
and the nerd's hot
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden.
Right.
That's what putting an old book into a Mylar is.
Yeah, a Mylar in particular. Oh, crystal clear, beautiful. Get rid of those nicotine-stained bags that have been around for a million years.
Perfect.
All right, you're up for 93.
93. There's more pictures than words.
Sure.
I am a caveman. If I want to read a lot of words, I'll go to a book
Yeah.
and I'll get my enjoyment that way.
Uh-huh.
I come to comic books for one reason and one reason alone: the pictures. I want to see that crazy, wacky art.
I do love that it's a bite-sized book, right?
Oh,
That
yeah.
It's something you can get through quickly. In our adult lives, you don't always have time to like sit down and soak in a novel, right?
Mhm.
Or read enough of it that it like starts to sink in for the experience that it should be.
Right.
Comic book you pick up in between things.
Okay, so listen. Does it matter that I haven't read Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five as a novel, but I have read it as a graphic novel?
I tell you what, that adaptation
Fucking rips.
is amazing, and it's also one of those things where you're just like, is there a better version of this than the one that's in comics? It seems like it was made for comic books, and any other medium would like would be a disservice to the story.
And my question is, did I gain anything or did I not gain anything by reading it in a graphic novel than I would have in a novel?
I don't know.
That's a different episode.
Yeah, that's a different episode.
100 best things about Slaughterhouse-Five.
All right, number 92.
Yep.
Organizing Zen.
Ooh. If you're in the proper chair,
Yep.
maybe a little pillow under your
Mhm.
tushy, you're good to go.
I've got a handful of comics that are read and need to be filtered into these boxes. I can throw on a movie or a podcast in the background
Mm-hmm.
and just autopilot and put my little treasures where they're supposed to belong.
There is something. Have you ever
It's
seen
very meditative for me.
Will Ferrell's movie Stranger Than Fiction?
Oh, God, I don't remember it.
He's like a clerk, like an accountant,
Uh-huh.
and like his life is narrated very like Truman-esque or whatever. But there's this moment where like she's describing him putting away folders into a filing cabinet.
Yeah.
And the narrator is describing it as ocean waves on a sandy beach of the folders and the sound they're making.
Yeah.
And I could totally relate to that as a comic book fan. I'm just like, you do kind of get in a rhythm
Yeah.
and like a kind of a zen mode of just like you forget about time and everything.
Yep. Completely.
It is our form of meditation.
Number 91.
91. A quote unquote bad comic can make a quote unquote good button.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Comics are very
Salvageable as art
Yeah.
and accessories.
Yeah, it's I have destroyed many a comic, not because it was bad, maybe because it was like beat up or like kind of
Yeah.
ripped. You can salvage a lot of cool imagery
Yeah, I love that.
into like buttons, or I know some people can make paper wallets or whatever, but like
Yeah.
it's endless what you can do
Mhm.
with these paper products, my friend.
I love it. Cover the front of your notebook
Yeah,
with what do people call that stuff?
wallpaper your bathroom.
Yeah.
Mod Podge.
Mod Podge.
Yeah,
Great stuff. Why didn't I think of that one?
that's because I did.
I love it. Number 90. Crushing multiple issues of a series in a row. The particular thing about this is, let's say you're behind on reading,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden you now have 4 issues of Saga that you haven't been able to get to.
Right.
And now you're sitting down and you're reading 4 issues of Saga
You're
in a
binging.
row.
You're binging
and you're
them.
like, this is why people love trades.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'm a maniac and I
Yeah.
have to have all the individual copies.
I'm a lunatic.
But the reading experience is fantastic. The immediate satisfaction of having a comic end where it normally would have ended and being able to say, I'm going to read the next one now, feels great.
We recently, you and I just did that with Something That's Killing the Children. I housed about 25 issues of that series within an afternoon.
Yeah, it's
and
an easy one to binge.
Oh, it was phenomenal. Like, I just kicked up my feet and just zoomed through those issues.
Yep.
Fantastic. What are we at, 89?
89.
Comics give crazy people occupations. I'm speaking of some examples: Alan Moore, Trad Moore, Ed Piskor, R. Crumb. Can you imagine those people working at a grocery store, or like in an accounting firm? Like no other medium, well, aside maybe movies and music, like any creative outlet, but like comic books give these kind of unhinged individuals somewhere to go, to tell their story, to express themselves, and to make a life that they otherwise wouldn't have.
I love this take. It's like Mobius is
a
genius of the craft. And it's because
but he sucked at basketball.
The mode of storytelling was there for him, right?
Yes.
Had it not been, you're saying, what happens to Mobius?
Oh, I mean, well, truly, he works at a Walmart.
Greeter at Walmart?
Or Jim's Shoes. Hi, welcome to Jim's Shoes. My name's Mobius. Why don't you whip out those Tootsies and see what kind of foot we got here?
He certainly wouldn't have been a doctor.
No, hell no. None of these people would be doctors.
All right.
Maybe Tom King.
Yeah. Number 88. Collection Sub-Conquests.
Oh.
This, for me, is my Marvel ladies' first appearances that I try to collect as many as I can of. My New Mutants 99 homage covers.
My kissing covers.
I buy them every time I see them. You buying kissing covers. I love hearing about the sub-collections people have within their collections that are just random things they got fascinated with and started hoarding.
And you know what it is. You know why we do this.
Tell me.
It's to fend off boredom.
Yeah.
From just collecting comic books. We have to give ourselves many achievements to complete in order to fuel the addiction.
I just love what it maybe like says about somebody that like their weird thing is. You know.
It's why meth addicts like get obsessed with stealing copper from houses. We're no better.
Right. All right, 87.
87. They can be used to start a fire. If you're ever in a pinch.
Yeah, life-sustaining heat.
Wow. You know what I mean? Wow. What an invention, these comic books. If only they were edible, they would be the perfect thing.
Yep. I'm sure, you could digest newsprint. Number 86. A cover price purchase becoming a grail.
Like Australian and UK and all that?
No, I'm saying I paid cover price for blank comic. Now it has become one of the most sought after comic books. We're thinking for our age, your Walking Dead #1s, your Edge of Spider-Verse #2s, Ultimate Fallout 4s. These are the sort of books that, you know, Greg and I, across our collections, probably have like a lot of these and paid cover price for them over time. And it's just really cool to see books that, you know, that's somebody's like ultimate purchase. And I was lucky enough to get it for $2.99, $3.99, whatever it was.
You can say I was there.
Because you were there.
This is the dream,
it's
really.
like a trophy,
This is our version of, you know, we're long dead and our family inherits this treasure and takes it to Antique Roadshow,
Mm-hmm.
and then they get to be the ones jumping up and down crying because we saved Saga #1 in mint condition,
Yeah.
and they can buy something fantastic. So if you're hearing this in the future, you're welcome, my grandson.
All right, you're up for 85.
85. Comic books, I'm speaking specifically and selfishly of our Discord, has created an amazing community for us.
Sure.
We have many fans and friends who have talked to us about how they don't have people around them that talk comic books like this,
Yeah.
or this passionately.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of community only exists because of comic books.
Yeah.
And it's been a delight to really be a special part of it, because we created this little zone
Mm-hmm.
for all of our friends to come hang out and talk about comic books, and that's blossomed into movies, music,
Yep.
pets, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And so that's been really special for me, of just none of this would have been possible without the invention of the comic book.
And there's so much to be said too about consuming art,
Mhm.
but so much of the experience of that for me is being able to talk about it,
Right.
and get other people's perspectives on it.
Yeah.
That is so much more enriching than just absorbing stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many comic books that we've covered on the show
Mm-hmm.
that I read and was
Mm-hmm.
shoulder lift.
This was good. Put it away forever.
And then hearing you and Andy talk about it and discover nuances in it that didn't occur to me have made me reevaluate a lot of these things and be like, oh, wow, this is going to become something that
Mhm.
I cherish, or it changes my perspective on it. So
Yeah.
I love that. 84. What's next on my list? Exclusives at panels.
Ooh.
When you go to a panel at a con
Yeah.
and they say, special for you is a comic book you're only getting
Mm-hmm.
at this panel.
Makes you feel special.
Oh man, you feel special. It's so rare.
Mhm.
It's something you cannot purchase unless you go on eBay and get it from some weirdo who even knows to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of one of those things that they're almost even hard to sell because
People don't know about them.
people don't know about them.
Yeah.
Right? We went to C2E2 one year and they had these Excalibur 18 sketch covers just because it was
Yeah.
what's the latest book coming out?
Yeah.
That's an X book. Let's print a black and white version of it and hand it out at this panel to the 200 people that showed up.
Also, Valiant Comics used to have
The gold logo.
embroiled logos.
Yeah.
Which was very cool.
Yes.
And they almost made it like a scavenger hunt of just after the panel, they'd be like, all right, now you have to go to our booth and say this magic password and you get the book. And I was
Yeah.
wow, they made it fun
Yeah.
to go get this thing. And it's almost like a checklist of just okay, I did it and I got the thing. It only means that to me.
Yeah.
It's only important to me now, and that's great.
Yeah. I have an Exo Manowar one and a Ninjak one.
Yep.
I think I have are they both Matt Kent? This was around the Matt Kent era of
Mhm.
Valiant.
Yeah.
Is this your turn?
It is.
You're up for 83.
The enjoyment and journey of the long form storytelling.
Yeah.
Speaking specifically of Usagi Yojimbo,
Mm.
Mike Mignola's Hellboy and BPRD, being around for a series that goes for multiple years within the same creative team is such a thrill to see them just weave their story. You could even say that for Walking Dead,
Yeah.
Saga, all these just long form, multiple yeared stories. And then when they potentially finally end and they nail the ending, you're just
Yeah.
God damn, this is why I stuck around. This is why I committed to this thing and saw it through, and it paid off, and I feel so cool right now that I was along for the journey.
This reminds me a lot of Vargas and I a while back had a conversation on the Patreon about movies
Mm-hmm.
and directors who kind of continually return to the same themes and do a lot of meditation on a singular thing. And and I really love seeing a creator's journey
Mm-hmm.
kind of change along with them growing and their different interpretations of the subject matter that they've presented you with throughout their career and their life, when it's something that transcends 8 years time.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to be able to experience that, like you said, in comics in these series that go for like 100 issues or more. You're
Yeah.
like you're growing with the creator.
Yeah.
They're changing their perspectives on things, and what they wanted to initially do with the story has changed later. But the way Mignola continually like revisits the same themes and meditates on those things is so rad.
Well, like even like Invincible, the book issue 1 and issue like 130 whatever, they're completely different books by the end of the series, and
right.
it's just a thrill to see that, all play out. I love it.
82, getting a remark for free.
Oh, yeah.
When you take your comic book up to a creator at a convention and you say, Mr. or Mrs., may I have your autograph, please?
Yeah. Please with my money?
And they say, pshaw, no money needed.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'll add a little doodle of this character you love so much to the
Yeah.
corner of this comic. Come on!
That's what we call a con pro.
That rules.
It's a con pro. And I'll say this, to piggyback onto that, if I may, if they do that for free and they have a little bucket for the hero initiative,
Yeah.
plop a 5 or a 10 in there.
Yeah.
Because that's a good deed that needs to be paid, my friend.
Yes.
So, but God, a free remark out of nowhere, you're just like, oh, like,
Even if it's like the smallest little Sharpie thing,
yeah,
those I cherish and treasure
yeah.
those comics. I think that's so cool.
Because no two are alike.
Yeah.
Just like snowflakes and ketchup packets.
All right, you're up for 81.
81. I am confident that in my history with comic books, there is at least one comic book out there for everyone. And it is fun to help them discover what it is.
Yeah.
The comic book medium is vast and wide. And when people say, I don't really like comic books, there's nothing really I would read, I take it upon me as a challenge
Yeah.
to find something for them, because every issue pretty much has been covered.
Yeah.
And by every creator, every artist, whatever. Like, there is something out there for you to read and enjoy. And it is your first hit of comic books, and then you'll become a fiend.
Yeah.
And you'll want to collect everything.
This was the impetus for our comic book tarot readings that we did with Boulevard Brewing Company at Planet Comic Con, where you told us
2024.
You told us your interests. We put out cards and ultimately found your way to a recommendation for you based on your likes and dislikes.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun.
We were very clairvoyant comic book readers.
That's
that
right.
Day.
That clairvoyance.
Man, that event ruled. It ruled so hard that CB Sobalski said it was the best thing he's ever seen. And that guy's seen a lot.
Number 80. Realizing covers connect.
Ooh.
I love when I've been buying a series and then I'm filing them away. And I'm like, wait a goddamn minute.
That leg matches up with that leg on that cover.
That's so great.
What the dickens?
They didn't have to do this, but they did.
I saw something. Okay, so I was putting comic books away, and I noticed something in some of my issues. This wasn't a connecting cover, but these two covers were different perspectives of the same scene.
Oh, interesting.
So, like, one of them was like through She-Hulk's eyes, and the other issue was through Daredevil's eyes of the same scene.
Neat.
So they weren't connecting; they were just like
yeah,
different perspectives of the same cover.
That's cool.
And I was like, that's a cool, different interpretation of
the
connecting cover.
That is really neat. I love that. You're up for 79.
79. Going through an old comic book and reading the vintage ads. Whether it be sea monkeys, t-shirts, pocket knives, or monkeys.
I love it.
It's cool to see what you could have bought back in the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
If you just mailed in a piece of paper with some money.
I love the old Macho Man ads, like buying a book to become a muscly dreamboat.
Getting sand kicked in your face. Hey, Pipsqueak.
Seeing all these products that looked amazing, but you knew were utter trash.
Just trash. And like all the cool t-shirts you could have gotten.
Yeah.
That are just like
some of the mail-in t-shirts are
squandered somewhere.
out of control. Yeah.
It's just so cool. We always bring up the monkey one that you could buy like a little rhesus monkey and just the horrors of all that. But a good vintage ad. Not only that, you could buy an engagement ring with your Mark Jewelers.
Oh, that's right. All right, number 78. Recognizing obscure cosplay at a Comic-Con.
Do you have any references for that?
Not in particular, no.
Okay.
But I just love when I see a D-list character from an indie comic,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, I know who you are, and then you have a really fun moment with this other person who is a fan of this like
Yeah.
niche thing and had something about that character's design that they found cool enough
Yeah.
that they wanted to dress as it.
I remember once, I think we were in Chicago, some girl had dressed up as the seal from Saga. But
yeah,
like she
this
wasn't
is-
she
this
wasn't
is
a seal,
perfect.
but she
Yeah.
had like the overalls and
Yes.
the boots on.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I walked up to her.
Goose.
I was just like, this may be weird, but like, are you Goose from Saga? And she was like, fucking finally. and like that was cool for her. I hope of just like someone recognizing
Totally. Oh,
the hard work you just did.
Those people love those moments.
Yeah.
As much as you love like going up to them and asking for a picture and stuff
Mhm.
like that, like those are such cool moments.
Yeah, I think I even saw like a Sweet Tooth that year, like the little kid with antlers.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
Like
yeah.
the more niche, the better. So I encourage everyone listening, make your cosplays weird and really honed in.
All right. 77.
They're basically giant trading cards. When you put them in the
Yeah.
bag and board, I mean, you might as well just put them in a giant pack and deal them out with your friends and put them on your bike tires. And I love that. I truly do. I would say about 30% of the comic book game is rad covers.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's what it is. I like reading mine, but I also respect people out there that just want them for the covers.
Totally. And I think it's fun when you're going back through, or when you go over to a friend's house, especially.
Oh, flipping through their collection.
And you go through their collection and you see what they've curated. And it dawns on you like, these are the artists you like. This is the style you like. These are the things that are important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's cool to see.
Yeah.
This curated collection that's been, in my opinion, because I'm a collector, accomplished
Mm-hmm.
by somebody. And that's neat. It speaks to someone's like character and interests.
I had this idea about a year ago that I've been trying to work with our good friend Mike with about how to do it, but it's essentially going to be for the Patreon. It's like a first issue club cribs where we would just go to our friend's house and they would show us their collection and like kind of the cool stuff that they like.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've seen it on YouTube blow up all the time. People love looking at other people's shit.
Yeah.
And so just to be able to like showcase them and let people pop off of like, this is like what I collect and this is like my cool thing, I think that'd be fun.
I'm a fan of just like expertise and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That if I could turn on YouTube at any point and just be like fennel seeds, and there's somebody who is just like so in love with growing fennel that
The history of
they
Fernet.
could tell you the history and all this stuff, and like I love that. I love passion in people.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. Even if I'm not interested in the subject, if you're passionate about it, I'll sit down and listen to you for hours.
All right, 76. I'm ending my mine today
Okay.
because you're going to be the last one.
Okay.
But I'm ending my entry for part 1 of the best 100 things in comics with a banger that I thought was one that you would have said by now.
Ooh.
Knowing you.
Uh-oh.
Love a map.
Oh.
Reading a fantasy comic and you give me some of the world
Mm-hmm.
in map form.
Yep.
So I can contextualize the things that are being said and go back and reference, well, how far is the journey?
That's my
And where's that little town they accidentally found their way in?
That's my kind of crazy OCD.
And where's so-and-so
Yep.
along this journey who got kidnapped and taken to this other place?
Love it. That's such a fucking great pick.
Yeah.
Those little fucking details that no one cares about except the
Yeah.
author and artist.
Totally, yeah. I love, like, when you think about how much extra work it is
Yeah.
to...
Because no one's asking for that.
Yeah, right.
They've given
It's-
that so much thought. They're just like, I have to put this to paper
But-
so I can forget about
But
it.
think about how many people are just like, okay, no words, flip. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
That's probably so many people.
Yeah.
But
Poor table of contents. Just
they
overlooked.
cared enough to draw a cool map with dotted lines about the trail and subsects of different territories of people and cool icons to represent different tribes and things. Like,
Yeah.
love a map in a fantasy comic.
Love a great map.
Yeah. And that was 76. Round us out for part 1, Greg, with number 75.
75. It's just a basic one. The smell.
Yeah.
The smell of a comic book.
Yeah.
Whether it be current or newsprint.
Nothing beats newsprint.
Oh, nothing beats newsprint, brother. You can. It's weird to say this, but like you can smell the color. Is that fucked up to say? Am I drunk
No,
enough?
I get what you're saying.
Just you open it up, and you're just like, woof, like I can
Yeah.
just smell
Mhm.
the cayenne.
I saw somebody on Reddit who posted a Amazing Fantasy that they bought, 15, obviously.
Obviously.
What other one would we be talking about? In a 3.0, signed on the first page by Stan Lee. It was in a CBCS case, and they were saying they wanted to pop it open. They'd spent 16 grand on it before taxes, and somebody was just like, somebody in the comments was like, what I wouldn't give to stick my nose in this. Take a big whiff. Had so many upvotes.
I just want to smell the ballpoint pen ink that Stan Lee used.
Right, yeah. I think there's something.
What I wouldn't give to put my nose in that could be used for in-need. Disgusting description on a subreddit.
Yeah, right.
God.
But yeah, it does. There's something.
That's what Joss Whedon was fired for saying.
But yeah, smell articulates this very specific things about like the experience and vibe of like comics that takes you back to your youth, when I feel like I was more in touch with that and your like olfactory senses.
Yeah.
Like
it's carefree.
Yeah.
It's like when a time when you weren't shackled with taxes or responsibility.
Yeah.
You're just like, all I cared about was fucking reading comics.
Yep.
And jorking my porkin'.
We can't end on that note, so I'll add one other thing.
Good, please.
I do think, we've had a lot of conversations lately on the to slab to not to slab thing, which I think is
it's old Billy Shakespeare.
It's an overblown conversation right now, and our ultimate thing was don't yuck someone's yum.
Correct.
Do whatever you want for whatever reason you want.
There's no wrong way to collect.
As long as you've got the money and have a healthy relationship with your habit or hobby, do it the way you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Preach, preach, preach from the mountaintops if anyone else shares that
mentality.
Big high five to you.
Yep.
I do understand like having this sort of like religious experience with a book like Amazing Fantasy 15 of being like, I need to touch it. I need to smell it. I need to turn the pages myself.
Very primal.
Yeah, very primal. When that person's in that comment was like, I want to stick my nose in this, I was like, I fully understand with all my being. That's like all I want to do is like dive inside of this comic and like wriggle around, get my scent on it.
It's kind of like when I walk down the towel aisle in like Walmart or Target.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I gotta feel what this towel feels like.
I
Just
need to touch this.
Get it out of my head.
All right, so that's that. Hopefully you enjoyed the first 25. Part 1 of 4 of the best 100 things about comics. Who knows when the next entry will be? But hey, it's going to show up eventually.
Yeah.
And we'll hit you with 74 through 50.
Yeah. Coming in hot. 74 through 50.
This is what we needed for this, was a soundboard.
Totally.
Of like, number 80.
Can we do that in post? No, I don't
That's too much work for me.
Yeah, no. That's a no for me, dog. I'll work on my Casey Kasem voice for next episode.
Go. Perfect. All right. We'll plan something live that we can do. We'll get a little like one of those. What were those things called? Not a talk boy.
Yeah, a Talkman, or like the little thing
Talkman?
that Kevin McAllister had in Home Alone.
You could like play your stuff back in a different
Yeah.
different voice.
Yeah, yeah.
We-
I know what you're talking about.
We'll get one of those.
Okay.
All right, bye.